How do you deal with an overly friendly neighbor who asks too many questions about your life when you happen to be outdoors at the same time? I live in an extremely religious community, Mormons, so this happens all the time. I used to try to be vague and give hints, but the best technique I have found is this one. I am kind of a private person. And then I compliment them on something I have noticed. Nice grass, or, hey, thanks for checking on me. I know it comes from a good place. You ever been in a storm, Wally? I'm that neighbor. I'm an older lady who lives alone and I'm just trying to make a connection with my neighbors. If something happens to me or my pets, I'd like someone nearby to at least notice they haven't seen me in a while or worry about my pets. Edit. Wow, thanks for the swag. Wow. The responses. Some good soon are clearly trying to be funny, but some are disturbing. Look, it is important to be on good, if not, friendly terms with your neighbors. You will have them in your life for a long time whether you like it or not. The responses that recommend short, vague answers where you follow up with questions of your own are the best. You may very well discover a new friend, or you may both realize you don't click and you will naturally not take it any further. But you will be left with a neighbor that is at least on good terms. Remember, they may be the person to notice you being robbed when you are not home, or notice the smoke from a fire first, or be accepting of the noise from a large party you decide to throw. There could be a lot of reasons they are talkative, and not all of them are them just being nosy or a dick. They could be genuinely interested, lonely, had a bad neighbor in that house previously, etc., to name a few. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. Thank you for all the awards, gold and silver. That's never happened to me. I've tried to read all the comments and clearly the whole concept of community, neighbor, friendship, loneliness, etc. has struck a nerve. I hope that op finds something useful and relevant to his situation. If you're not very open to chat, just keep things polite yet quick. It's nice to have a good relationship with your neighbors. If they do delve into personal questions, just say, "That's a bit personal, I'd rather not talk about that." Most important thing is to be polite. Don't be an asshole, or act standoffish when it's not necessary. Honestly, just use some common sense. Don't be a Redditor, is all I'm saying. Try having a neighbor who tracks when you leave and arrive back home. Talks to your boss about your work schedule and when you're actually supposed to be at home. Asking my boss if I had COVID when she noticed I hadn't left the house in a couple days. The list goes on and on. I fucking hate nosy neighbors. Is your life really that miserable you have to worry about strangers? I told her off and we are currently looking to move. Some people are just bad neighbors. I made friends with my neighbor at the beginning of lockdown. Now whenever I go out front of my house, he comes out. Every single time. Even when we just open our front door, he comes out and just sits. One time, Amazon dropped a package off when I was working on the side of the house. He opened his window, proceeded to yell to me that Amazon had delivered a package. I don't go out of the front door anymore, unless going to my car. I just hang out around back and even take my dogs on walks leaving through and arriving through the backyard. I've always just casually said, "Hey, that's kind of personal." When said with a smile, it usually works. Edit notes. 1. Thanks for the awards too. Some people have pointed out that the kind of isn't necessary, and in a sense, they're right. It's just how my speech usually sounds, and I find that the kind of is easier to say as a non-confrontational person. Cough. My partner and I just moved into a house and got cornered by a neighbor for 30 minutes. My Midwest sense of guilt needs to clarify a few things. We were on our way to do stuff. This neighbor started talking and didn't stop for 30 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. Half an hour. Non-stop talking at us, not with us. We tried every little polite out we could take. Plenty of, well LP, S and damn, that's crazy, S and even a few goddamn, well we should really get going, S. I even started leading the conversation into the middle of the street hoping a passing car would separate us. None if it worked. We only finally made it out of there because it got dark. I've decided the next time this happens I'm just going to tell her politely, but firmly, that I need to take a dump and then just walk away. Edit. The replies to this are hilarious. I tried every single one of these things. I have no explanation why it took so long to finally end the convo. Sell your house and try again. I don't mind overly friendly neighbors as much. Giving a short vague answer to certain questions you're not comfortable with is probably best. The problem I have currently with a new neighbor is that they are not respectful of others' space or property. They have over 7 adults and 5 minors living in the house. Cars parked in front of my home, ARVs, old scrap car in their driveway, city violation. They let their kids run all around my driveway, play with my doorbell, throw rotten fruit in my backyard. One of the adult men likes to leave his trash in front of my driveway, constantly yells at night. Power washes all of his cars and ARVs close to my driveway all day. Several neighbors I have spoken to have had nothing but negative things to say about them, but no one does anything about it. I try to actively ignore people like this, as they are renting the home and I have no idea how long for. But my patience is running thin. Look, honestly, I have very poor social awareness and no filter at all, so they would probably hear about how my chronic illnesses have resulted in constipation so bad that I have to be on laxatives for 6 months to restart my bowels, and the consequences that all of this has on my sex life. I fully accept that I am the reason that I have very few friends. Be as polite as possible. Seriously, it's better than having a bad one who you are constantly at odds with. I think maybe they're not so much intrusive, just trying to spark a conversation. I would stop what you're doing, give them 5 minutes of undivided attention. You don't have to reveal too much, just get to know each other, then wrap it up with an "alright, good to see you, I gotta get back to this." I bought 86 acres in the middle of nowhere. My closest neighbor is 1.5 miles away. So far, it seems to be working. Just gotta get the house built. Lol. Gray rock. Keep your answers short, simple, and vague. Examples: what did you do this weekend? A. Not much. The conversation will eventually fizzle out, they'll get the hint. Some of the responses you've gotten don't seem to understand that there are just people like this, that don't respect personal boundaries and can't pick up on subtle hints like one-word answers. The way I deal with these people is by humoring them for a bit, using some of the tactics already mentioned, giving short, uninterested answers. If they don't catch the hints I'm dropping, I'll pretend to have something else to do. Go inside. The premise of this question is why the phrase, "good fences make good neighbors," exists. Try to make your boundaries clear, and, barring that, build a tall fence so they can't bother you. I moved. It was to the point she had binoculars out watching us. I have anxiety, and can't do anything if someone watches me. I love woodwork, and working on cars. I could do neither without her sitting on her porch and watching me. My yard wasn't big enough to build a garage, so I had to work outside. She would catch you outside and talk for 30 minutes. Plus side, we made a buttload of cash off the house sale. Moving to a house with 2 garages and only one neighbor, a couple hundred yards away. First thought, always leave the house wearing headphones, even if you're not actually listening to music. Every time you encounter said neighbor, give them a friendly wave and continue to carry on. Lol. Wear headphones when you go outside, or pretend to be on the phone. The only time I've had that happen was in my first apartment. Older lady next door always wanted to ask personal questions about me since I was so young. When she asked overly personal questions, I'd usually just smile and jokingly say something like, "You'll have to buy me dinner and a drink if you want to know me that well." Ask them about their life, the same way they do. Edit. Okay, look, what I meant to say is bother them as much as they do to you. So then they'll see that and then stop, or they either spend so much time talking about themselves that you don't even have to share anything personal. I have a neighbor who I legitimately hide from because I hate talking to her. She'll keep you outside for like half an hour. I'll duck behind the dumpster and wait for her door to close. I have a dog who is scared of PPL, so if I have her outside it's easy to be like, "Oh sorry, my dog is dragging me away." I know I'm an asshole, but I hate people. I have zero interest in their lives. My favorite neighbors are ones who never ever talk to me. So how's your sex life? Oh, hi Mark. End every sentence with the words, as was foretold in the prophecy. I don't know if that'll help with your neighbor specifically, it's more a sort of general life tip. Offense usually works in. Say, oh why do you ask? In a smiling friendly kinda curious way. Or if you don't care about being G-friendly there is, why would you ask me that? Or the evasive, I dunno what's new with you. Possibly in a teasing manner, gee, you ask all the questions, huh? Stupid Flanders. Ask to borrow money. Have some friends come over on the same date, same time once a month. Make them dress all in matching clothing, head to toe all one color. When they arrive come out to greet them. Make some odd hand signals and hit your chest a few times while screeching. They hand you a box wrapped in paper with strange symbols written all over it. You hand them something obscure, like a rubber chicken or a VHS copy of Showgirls. Once the exchange is over, your friends leave and drive around the block only to return to park in front of your neighbor's house where they stare at his front door and write notes in tiny notebooks before leaving. I say something like, oh, I don't wanna get into that, but have you heard about so-and-so? Or if I really don't want to talk at all, I'll say that I'm not feeling too well and we'll catch up another time. Then if this happens again, I'll pretend to take a phone call. After a while, hopefully they get the hint and if not, then I guess I would just have to move. Winking face. Headphones in. Sunglasses on. I have a nosy neighbor. I set boundaries. Then I used this technique. He finally understood that I didn't want to be bothered. Now he doesn't bother me unless absolutely necessary. You must strip naked and assert your dominance. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v equals mabliafnarkeo closing parenthesis. Just answer it shortly, then ask them about theirs. If that doesn't work make it up as you go, like Marie did with Hank from BB. After acknowledging their existence and making brief chit-chat. Anyway, it was good talking to you. I'll catch you later, turn around and go do your own thing. No explanation or opportunity for him to ask follow-up questions. It's awkward, and you come off as weird and standoffish, but it works. For most people this should be enough. YMMV obviously depending on if you're a woman and the dude is one of those dudes who refuses to take the hint because he knows he's got you trapped there. Moved in and added a flagpole to my front yard. Nosy neighbor comes over, gonna hoist Old Glory up there right? Nice. I said, no, I like to fly flags of the countries I've been to. I get a flag from each one as a reminder of my trip. A few sports teams and other ones too. Everyone flies the US flag and while I like it, I find it boring. She said, well I'm sure you'll have a Trump flag up till November at least. I said, no, that would be the very last flag I would ever fly I assure you. She had no response and has not come back. They are, however, installing their own flagpole now. I have the same problem, and my nosy neighbors live right up against my backyard in an RV with windows looking right over the fence. My solution has been to wear giant, obvious, noise-canceling headphones and listen to music or audiobooks while I garden. Big sunglasses on sunny days. Put your finger up to your mouth and say, shish. The aliens are listening. Then point to any scar on your body and say, this is where they inserted the chip. I live in an apartment complex and how do I wish my neighbors only asked questions. But my apartment is right next to the parking lot where the smokers hang out can't smoke inside the apartment. So if I leave the bedroom window open they hear everything. So lots of awkward comments. I almost always visibly take it in stride and always reply with a smile and say something along the lines of, what the fuck dude? Invariably, it'll elicit a chuckle and life moves on. I'm not trying to be friends with these people, but I still got to live with them. So even if I'm privately fuming I keep the peace. That's part of being an adult in society. You can tell everyone to fuck off and mind their own business. Believe me you definitely can but it won't get you very far. Especially, since no one is a perfect angel and you'll invariably step on some toes yourself. So it's best to stay in your neighbor's good graces so when you're oh so accidentally the asshole, they cut you some slack. I need to remember to shut that window though. I mean a little while ago I was playfully messing around with my partner. You know, making her a little miserable to let her know I love deeply. Well, I got a little carried away and she yelled out, "Get your finger out of my butt." She was loud, the window was open and the next thing we heard was a small chorus of laughter. We both about died of embarrassment. Good times.